Imagine walking through a town where silence screams louder than words. Buildings still stand, but no one's home. Rusty swings sway in the wind. Windows stare at you like empty eyes. These aren't movie sets. These are real American cities that died. Some were crushed by fire, others choked on their own success, and a few are still burning. Let's deep dive today into 10 of the most haunting ghost towns in the United States, where history sleeps and time stands still. Our first stop is Centralia, a town where families once laughed, children played in the streets, and then the ground itself turned against them. What was once home is now smoke, silence, and memory. Imagine a town that looks peaceful from afar, but beneath the surface, hell is burning. Centralia, founded in 1866, was a thriving coal mining community in eastern Pennsylvania. At its peak, it was home to over 2,500 residents, with churches, schools, a post office, and even its own mayor. It was built quite literally on top of one of the richest anthracite coal veins in America. But in May 1962, workers lit a fire in a landfill to clean up trash. What they didn't know was that the fire reached an open coal seam, and it never went out. The ground began to smoke, houses filled with carbon monoxide, streets warped and cracked. In 1981, a 12-year-old boy named Todd Dombowski fell into a sinkhole that opened beneath his feet, nearly dragging him into a fiery pit. That horrifying moment made national news. The government responded. Evacuation orders, buyouts, demolitions. By 1990, only a few houses stood. Today, fewer than 5 people remain, not out of defiance, but because they simply refuse to leave the only home they've ever known. The fire underneath Centralia is estimated to keep burning for another 250 to 500 years. And on quiet days, if you walk the abandoned Route 61, you might still hear the hiss of smoke from the cracks, or see graffiti from visitors who dared to come close. Our second stop is Bodie, a town frozen in time, high in the windswept hills of California. In the late 1800s, Bodie was the ultimate boom town. Located in the Sierra Nevada mountains, Bodie exploded in size after William S. Bodie discovered gold nearby in 1859. By 1879, it had grown to a population of nearly 10,000 people, complete with over 65 saloons, gambling halls, opium dens, a Wells Fargo bank, a Chinatown, and a red light district. Newspapers from the time wrote, "Bad men from everywhere dripped into Bodie. Murders are frequent, and stagecoaches are held up regularly." And yet, the town thrived. The Standard Consolidated Mining Company was one of the richest in the West, producing millions in gold and silver. But success was brief. By the 1880s, the mines started drying up. 2 devastating fires in 1892 and 1932 destroyed most of the business district. The Great Depression sealed its fate. Today, Bodie is a California state historic park, frozen in arrested decay. Dishes still sit on tables. A child's toy lies beneath a dusty bed. Time stopped and never restarted. Local legend warns that stealing from Bodie brings a curse. Rangers regularly receive mailed-back souvenirs with letters confessing car crashes, divorces, illnesses, and financial ruin. It's not just a ghost town, it's a museum of frozen memories. And perhaps, restless spirits. Our third stop is Rhyolite, a desert boomtown that rose in a flash of gold and vanished just as quickly, leaving behind grand ruins and broken dreams in the Nevada sun. The Nevada desert once glittered with gold, and Rhyolite was its crown jewel. Discovered in 1904 near Death Valley, this town went from barren wasteland to boomtown in a blink. By 1907, Rhyolite had over 5,000 residents, electricity, a hospital, a stock exchange, and even an opera house. Some of its buildings were made of poured concrete, a sign of modern luxury. One millionaire, Charles Schwab, not the banker, invested heavily, believing the gold would never run out. But then came the panic of 1907. The banks collapsed. Gold production plummeted. Within just 5 years, the town went from thriving metropolis to ghost city. By 1920, Rhyolite had fewer than 20 people. Today, its ruins stand like monuments in the sand. The iconic Cook Bank building is now a hollow shell. The bottle house, made of over 50,000 glass bottles, still survives. In a town that lived fast and died faster, and under the desert moonlight, its crumbling walls whisper of fortunes won and lost. In the heart of the Alaskan wilderness lies the skeleton of an empire, Kennecott. Founded in 1903, this mining town was home to the richest known concentration of copper on Earth. Over the next 30 years, the Kennecott Copper Corporation pulled out over $200 million worth, the equivalent of billions today. Workers braved sub-zero temperatures, avalanches, and isolation. At its height, Kennecott supported over 300 workers and their families, with a hospital, skating rink, tennis court, and school. But by 1938, the copper ran dry. The company packed up and left overnight. Everything from typewriters to tools was left behind. The silence here is deafening. Today, red buildings cling to steep hillsides, looking more like a haunted painting than a town. Some visitors claim to hear the distant clang of pickaxes echoing through abandoned tunnels, though no one's worked them in 85 years.
At the turn of the 20th century, Thurmond was the beating heart of West Virginia's coal industry. Powered by the Chesapeake and Ohio Railway, it processed millions of tons of coal and handled more freight than Cincinnati. With just 200 residents, it boasted a luxury hotel, banks, and restaurants, all thriving from rail money. But Thurmond's downfall was slow and quiet. The switch to diesel trains in the 1950s made its coal stations obsolete. Fires, floods, and economic shifts drained the town's lifeblood. By the 1990s, only a few residents remained. Today, Thurmond is managed by the National Park Service. Its empty train depot, silent post office, and overgrown tracks feel like they're waiting for passengers who will never come. Locals tell stories of a woman in white seen walking along the rails at dusk, searching, perhaps, for a train that never returns. Our next stop is Garnet, a Montana mountain town where gold once flowed and voices filled the saloons, now silenced by snow, time, and the wilderness that took it back. Tucked deep in the forests of Montana lies Garnet, one of the best preserved ghost towns in the U.S. Founded in the 1890s, Garnet was quieter than most mining towns. No shootouts, no gambling halls. Just about 1,000 people, most of them families. They mined gold, baked bread, built schools. It was the American dream in the mountains. But in 1912, a massive fire destroyed half the town. Then came World War I, and the young men left for war, never to return. By the 1940s, Garnet was empty. Today, more than 30 structures still stand, maintained by the Bureau of Land Management. Tourists come for the peace and for the ghosts. Rangers say piano music sometimes plays from the old hotel, but no one is inside. Now we journey to our 7th ghost town, the haunting and frozen in time, St. Elmo. Deep in the Colorado Rockies stands St. Elmo, a town frozen in time and perhaps haunted by it. Founded in 1880, St. Elmo grew to over 2,000 residents thanks to nearby gold and silver mines. It had saloons, newspapers, a telegraph office, and a railroad depot. The Mary Murphy mine alone produced millions in gold. But when the rail line shut down in 1922, the town faded. People simply packed their bags and vanished. One family stayed, the Starks, caretakers of what remained. Annabelle Stark, often called the ghost of St. Elmo, was the last known full-time resident until her death in the 1960s. Some say she never truly left. Visitors today see rows of weathered wooden buildings, the general store, the hotel, even the old schoolhouse. Many report hearing children's laughter near the abandoned school, and some claim Annabelle still watches from a second-floor window, waiting for her town to live again. If desolation had a capital, it would be Cisco. Once a vital water and fuel stop for steam trains in the late 1800s, Cisco sat at the edge of Utah's vast wilderness. By the 1920s, it thrived off oil and travelers from nearby Route 6 and Route 50. It had gas stations, motels, diners, and a tough edge. But when Interstate 70 was built in the 1950s and bypassed Cisco completely, it was like severing an artery. The flow of people stopped. Businesses died. Cisco collapsed almost overnight. In recent years, it gained attention as a filming location, most notably in Thelma and Louise and the Johnny Cash movie, Ride the High Country. Today, Cisco looks like a surreal painting, rusted trailers, torn billboards, and silence pierced only by desert wind. Artists and wanderers sometimes pass through, but never stay. And those who camp nearby? They tell of strange lights in the distance and voices with no source.
In the sun-scorched Mojave Desert, there once stood a town made of silver dreams, Calico. Founded in 1881, Calico boomed fast. Within 2 years, it had over 500 mines and produced the equivalent of $86 million in silver by today's standards. It had shops, saloons, hotels, even a Chinatown. But as silver prices collapsed in the 1890s, so did Calico's fortune. Mines closed, families moved on. By 1907, the town was abandoned. Its silver dried up, and its streets silenced by wind. Then a twist. In the 1950s, Walter Knott, founder of Knott's Berry Farm, bought and restored the town. He rebuilt it to honor the Wild West legacy. Today, Calico lives as a tourist site. But don't let the gift shops fool you. Some original buildings remain, including the old schoolhouse and Lucy Lane's home, and visitors whisper of shadow figures in the Maggie Mine, and footsteps that echo long after closing hours. The silver may be gone, but Calico's spirit is still very much alive.
Our journey ends in Cahaba, a town born in hope, drowned in sorrow, and now whispering stories through crumbling ruins and drifting mist. Long before Montgomery, Alabama, had a different capital, Cahaba. Established in 1819, it sat at the confluence of two rivers, meant to be a symbol of southern prosperity. But the land was cursed with floods. In 1825, after repeated devastation, the capital was moved. During the Civil War, Cahaba became a prison camp for Union soldiers, notorious for overcrowding and disease. By 1900, the once grand homes were empty. Churches fell. Streets became paths. Today, Cahaba is a historical park, but the foundations of mansions still peek through the grass. Visitors claim to feel sudden chills and hear whispers beneath the Spanish moss. Some say the spirits of Union soldiers still march through the mist, never knowing the war ended long ago.
These towns weren't just names on a map. They were lives, legacies, entire worlds. They rose with gold and coal, with trains and copper, and fell to fire, flood, greed, or silence. But their stories remain, etched in brick, buried in dust, whispered on the wind. They remind us that nothing lasts forever, not even cities built on dreams. Which of these ghost towns would you dare to visit? Let us know in the comments. And if these stories chilled your spine or stirred your curiosity, hit that like and subscribe. Until next time, keep exploring what history left behind.